Greetings, YouTubers. More tales from the crypt from Ireland. A little bit about me. I was born in Ireland and I grew up in Ireland, so I am Irish. I'm 100% Irish. My parents are both from Ireland, so all I know is I'm 100% Irish and my ancestry are all from Ireland. So I was born and raised in Ireland. I grew up in the middle of Ireland, but most recently I lived in the west coast of Ireland in a very tiny village called the village of Knock. And so I rented a very cute little house there. One of my stories talks about my weirdo landlord who was not a very nice person or not a safe person, but this is another story. So I started getting people stopping by the house. And sometimes it was people, we have what's called Gypsies in Ireland, travellers. They're not safe people. They used to be safe people, and my grandparents used to not mind if they'd come to the farm and help themselves to some of the crops. There was like a symbiotic relationship there. It was just an understanding that they could come and take what they needed. And when I grew up in the middle of Ireland, they would come to my mom's house and ask for stuff, and they'd give her stuff in return. But my mom used to get so upset because the stuff that my mom would give them, which may not have been much because we were not a wealthy family and my mom and dad were raising 8 children. But my mom would find the stuff that, that we gave them thrown in the ditch. That really offended my mom. And something you don't want to do is curse my mother or offend my mother. I wouldn't dare. Shouldn't have done. Anyway, but they would do that. They'd just take the stuff and throw it in the ditch. I guess they didn't really. And it was stuff that my mom used. So that's what upset her so much, was that she gave them stuff that was valuable to her, but it would be found thrown in the ditch. But anyway, when I was in the village of Knock, there was a boy that came to my door asking for money. I guess they were needing money. I didn't have money at the time, so I just didn't have money to hand out because I'm not rich either, and I didn't have a ton of money to hand out. So I offered to give money later, but I discovered what they do is they use their kids to kind of scout out the neighborhood and scout out the house, and they come in and check out your house and see and then they'll try and rob it later. They'll try and rob it if there's anything in there worth robbing. So you have to be very careful. There are a bunch of thieves and robbers over there. So this is a story that I remember now. I want to talk about the witches that I encountered in the village of Knock. There was a bunch of witches. There was a coven of witches in the village of Knock. I got invited to the coven, but I turned it down because I'm a druidess and I don't join witches' covens. No, I don't. Neither does my Book of Shadows. Help! But anyway, I actually rescued this from a witch's coven. I have a sense of humor, that's a joke. But anyway, I have a couple of stories to tell. So these people would come by the house and ask different questions. So one woman came, and I would open the window, because in the cute little house I was in, you could open the window instead of the door. So I wouldn't let anyone in. I'd just open the window and say, okay, who sent you? Why are you here? And so one lady said she worked with the garbage company. So I said, okay, show me your ID to show me that you work with the garbage company. She said, oh, I don't have my ID. I said, well, give me your first and last name and I'll verify that you work with the garbage company, and also provide your phone number and I'll call you if I'm interested. And she was quite impressed that I questioned her that way, and she told me that she was a witch and asked me if I'd join her coven, and I'm like, no, just go away. So, but one time, I took my son to a neighbouring village and I treated some of the kids there. I got permission from the parents to give them some treats. Do you know they were gypsies? I didn't realise it. And not every gypsy is bad. Gypsies can be wonderful people, so this is not meant to say that every gypsy is a bad person. Not at all. We had a very beautiful relationship with the gypsies in Ireland throughout the centuries. They had lost their land, so they had become nomadic and travellers. And there's really nothing wrong with that. They're beautiful people, but there's certain parts of them, like some of the Romani travellers are very dangerous. Not all of them, but some of them are. You just have to be very careful. So I was followed. Yeah, I was driving at the time, and I left that little village, and I noticed that I was being followed by the gypsies. So I stopped by a local store and got them off my trail and, got home safely. But later on in the village, they were camping because they're protected under certain laws. They can camp certain places. But I called the Garda and let them know that one of the ladies was trying to talk to me, and she was a lady that from the group that had followed me before, so I did not engage her at all. She tried to talk to me. I just didn't talk to her at all. I acted like I didn't know her, and I didn't really know her. So I didn't talk to her at all. But I didn't have my phone with me, so I had to borrow somebody's phone to call the Garda, and the Garda said, don't engage them, we'll deal with them. So the police had to ask them to leave because I guess they're not allowed to loiter or camp in that area. They were asked to leave. The police dealt with them in Ireland. But with gypsies in Ireland, you have to be very careful. They're very dangerous. They can be. Certain ones can be very dangerous. But then I encountered other ones who were from a neighbouring village who liked to stop by. And I'm not sure how I think I don't know, I think I found them online or something. I'm not sure, but they would stop by. Yeah, I was giving away stuff. And so I gave them a lot of stuff and a lot of food, and they were very grateful and they were very nice. And they were very helpful. They actually helped me. I had a mailbox that I had purchased that was on the wall outside, and I needed that removed. So they helped me do some little tasks like that, remove the mailbox and stuff. So they were very nice people and very helpful. So I got along very well with them. But you just have to be careful. So that's another story I have that's a true story. Thanks for listening.